Howdy everyone, George Manuel here with another life update. I'm currently doing a 6-month work in service at the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory, also known as SARAO. They're a research group under the NRF tasked with the mission of observing the night skies with radio telescopes situated in the Northern Cape to discover new planets, stars and any phenomena that could lead to breakthroughs in science. I'm technically a part of the electronics team, but since I do mechatronics, I also get to do mechanical engineering work as well. A big part of this program, which is a part of my course at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, is a project we have to do within the duration of our 6 months. With the help of my mentor Glenn, I will be building a drone that is RFI proof. RFI is radio frequency interference. That's electrical noise that devices such as cell phones emit, which can cause damage to sensitive equipment such as radio telescopes. The purpose of this drone is to navigate autonomously around site and detect any anomalies which can cause damage to the dishes, then report it. Because I only have 6 months and this is a pretty serious undertaking, the actual scope of my project is simplified to getting the RFI proof of concept right on a single leg of the drone, which can then be replicated over the other legs. I started off with getting a list of the components I would need to build a single leg, but after a few weeks I was feeling a little spent, so I decided to check out a slam poetry gig at a place called Third House.
Quickies and confessions.
At this new gym I'm at, while hitting a few rounds of the bag, I met a cool guy who also boxes. He asked if I wanted to train, and of course, I couldn't turn him down. Yeah, that was tough. Back in the office, I began doing designs for my project and looking out for components I need. My mentor advised me on which hobby shops I should stick to because of how much easier it would make the procurement process. Afterwards, he reviewed my purchase request.
But otherwise, that's all the comment I gave you. Just give it two forms with separating that and that. Okay.
Alright.
Then we go with it, and then we will send one out for the aluminium later.
Got it.
Got it. Good.
After that, he gave us a quick crash course on flow diagrams. Reason being, because he wanted us to show him the abstracted process in which our devices would operate.
You received it. Now, this is a process. So this process goes insert here, second page. Okay. And on
this process, we would do the exact same thing that we've done here. We would start it as a start.
Back at home, I spent an hour doing some maths. Recently, I've been trying to make a habit out of it because maths is a very useful skill to have. That Friday, I began drawing up flow diagrams for the drone's operations. Watch me pretend like I'm working for a few seconds just so I have a shot. I was also curious as to how I could optimize the drone's flight path and found an algorithm that finds the shortest path between nodes in a weighted graph.
So B and D are unvisited and the current distance is infinity. So we can update the distance.
But in all
from
honesty,
A to
all
B
that
to
thinking
2
was making my head dizzy,
and
so
store
I decided
A
to
as
turn
the
up with a few
previous
friends of
node
mine.
in our table.
That's what I like. That's what you like. Lost my respect. You not a threat. When I shoot my shot, this shit raining like I'm set. See the shots that I took. Wet like I'm Lizzy. Watch till I'm busy. Like I'm easy. No one seen it. I'm trying to kill. Get it over where I am. Backing on the floor, you should bust it to the game. Now I hit the FBO with numbers in my hand. Woo! Hey, yo! Hey, yo! Hey, let's do the play.
Eventually, all of the purchase request forms were approved and we had to go ahead to finally purchase some components. But before that could happen, we needed to finalize our concepts. A part of the concepts would include schematics, which I also started to work on. I decided to use my 3D printer to get a physical representation of what it is I was going for. That way we could have a much more real impression on what it is we're trying to build.
These are like 20 rand.
Eventually, we showed our mentor what we have completed so far, and he gave us feedback, but everything went well. I'll take you guys through what he mentioned, and as well as my flow diagram that includes the general operations that the autonomous drone will have. Apart from being able to call the suppliers to confirm if the parts are available, he mentioned that I need to add connectors to the relevant parts and ensure that the male connectors are connected to the loads and females to the sources for safety. I also needed to change the square shaft to a cylindrical one because that would help with aerodynamics in the future. I needed to add a charging port with a low pass filter, check amp draw to see if we could use a LDO because those don't emit any RFI. If we needed to stick to a DC-DC converter, then we could do so. Also need to add screw holes and RFI gaskets on the design, and in the algorithm change the initialization to when the GPS is within a range of the start node. So the requests are approved. Schematic has been checked. Design has been checked. Let's move to the next step. Now we're gonna buy some stuff. What you're seeing right now is an RFI testing chamber. This is what I'm going to use to test out my drone. So I'm doing a startup with 2 partners, and we have meetings every Thursday where we discuss certain challenges that we're having. And I thought I'd show you guys one of those meetings. So let's try and exhaust the list of companies here, but within a time frame. Once that time frame has been reached, then we can stop. Then we can broaden the calls to wherever and whoever. And if no one in South Africa wants to use our services, then we have to start talking about pivoting. But I don't think that's a conversation we need to start considering.
So, if you do consider companies outside of the how does that program work?
We'll have to do it online, like we did with Empire. Yeah, we have no other choice. So, as far as companies outside of Cape Town are concerned, everything is going to be remote until we have some sort of like agreement with those companies where we need to implement this. Then that's when we're gonna have to find a way to go to that specific place. I don't know about that. I think it's important to actually meet them, to really understand their workflow, the people, like the officers who are working there. I think it's going to be important for us to actually be physically there.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying for factors that are really beyond us.
Yeah.
Then we'll try to work away when you get there. I'm just saying consider the possibility. If that becomes very difficult to do, then our hands might be forced. I'm not saying that that's the plan.
You mean to do everything remotely?
Not to do everything remotely, but if we're forced to do that.
Go there.
Like, let's say we are able to go there,
Yeah.
go there do that. Should we not be able, in let's say a specific time frame, then try to find a way to temporarily work remotely while we're working towards getting there?
Yeah, I mean those things can come with conversations with these companies. The key point I think is to really just nail a company that's going to be like, okay guys, we'll give you a chance, and everything else, all the workarounds, we'll figure out as we go along. With this budget we've got, I think it's enough to send at least one of us for a day or something to this place and then come back. Yeah, but we'll leave that until that time comes. So next month is September, right? SecureX is when?
Between September and October.
Seriously, where do you see that?
I think 20.
So here's the plan, right? This is the default that we're gonna go with. SecureX, we're not organizing a booth. We are just gonna be going there with our outfits. We're gonna go with carrying our laptops. We're just gonna walk around. We're gonna talk to people. That's the default plan that we're gonna go with. If by the time we get there, or from here, between now and then, we land some people, etc., 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 and we can somehow organize the funds to obviously book this booth, because it's very expensive. I think it's 50,000, like the cheapest package. Yeah, that's why I'm not even going to try and press that.
So, real quick question. Does it remember how we were exploring TIA? There's still NYDA, still all these other organizations that we could visit. I do know for NYDA there might be a longer process, but we still have to go check it out. They're based in, I think it was Observatory.
Yeah.
Salt River, so they were based in Salt River. The specific building I told people about, but I'm sure we're able to get there using the Cashbook bus.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we should organize a time to just go past there, figure out what do they offer, because I know they do have mentorships like we were looking for.
Yeah.
They do have business development courses. All I know is, from what I remember, is that you can take the 2-week course, and what they can do is they can help you with the cost of like setting up. For example, let's say the SecureX is coming up, right? They would be willing to fund, for example, paying for the group itself. If there's any additional resources that you need to be able to, they'll be able to do that for you. I think they take it up until, last I spoke to my dad, he was like, no, they take it until like 1 million. Any more funding beyond that will need a proper business plan.
Yeah. There seem to be a lot of these organizations just floating out there. And if we can get them to help us out, it's going to mean a lot. Because the barrier of entry into the security industry is clearly something I underestimated. But it doesn't seem impossible, because these people, they're talking to us, they're expressing interest, but there's just something that's missing.
They aren't following through because the reason why they aren't following through is because there isn't any sense of urgency to that like matter.
Yeah,
that they have.
I suppose so.
Yeah, because none of their employees have sort of like expressed the sort of like difficulty of writing reports. So no one has mentioned anything. So this thing that we are offering is sort of like an option, not a sort of
And not a necessity.
So I feel like another way to think about it is we maybe interact with officers themselves and we just speak to them about it. Then if they maybe do feel some sort of urgency needed, they can maybe report to the lobby it like out in order to create. They can lobby it up in order to create a demand for it. So
that could be an approach.
Yeah.
It's something I thought about, like when I was at Bears, there's that guy that sits there and I tend to think, I'm like, what if I just tell him, for him to give it a try?
Yeah.
And let me know what he thinks. Does it help? Does it not help? Yeah. And then see it from him. But then again, like I think after having I think into multiple of the officers, then also the person who's responsible for receiving those reports, you also be like, okay, no, here's an officer. Let the officer type the report. Let's see how easy they find it to use that interface. And then if, let's say the officer, when we did our own background test, we saw that they found it easy, then the manager or the operations manager should be able to see the benefit. So, because for now it's like, okay, you can see that after doing what we're doing, it churns out that is out. But I don't think they understand like the scale of it. Like now, the reports that you're getting, you don't have to ask further questions. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of asking the people, how can we ensure that they sort of how can we ensure that they follow up? How do they sort of follow up to their like IOPS effectively, as in sort of making their sort of making their like sort of I'm trying to word it, I can't.
Basically, how to convert like or into
To make them understand how useful it
No,
can be.
not him. Like alone, but the person.
Yeah, I know.
Above him.
So how do they convey that message?
Yes.
Yeah.
And to try and make it convincing enough.
You know what would be interesting is if we could get an officer to use the software, right? Like you say, and then once they do that, the proof would be in the pudding, right? If their reports improve. So let's say these officers already write their reports to WhatsApp, right? So we give this guy this thing and we let him use it to send his reports to WhatsApp.
I like that. I got an idea. I got a crazy idea, right?
No, but wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Before that, this is already there. But now, how do we ensure that that guy follows that up to his bosses?
The thing is, we have to let him use it for a while, and once maybe like a week or something. Once he sees the reports are improving and whatnot, etc., then we take it up. Then we're like, okay, I've been using this thing, and these are the guys that have given me this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's a sort of backdoor method to getting into the room.
It's a funky one. It's a very funky strategy. Very exact what Joe's just detailed. Like you give it free, you give it for free. They use it. The officers use it as a tool, as if it's their own, like they have Grammarly. And then they're sending reports. And then, but what we have to do is now, if let's say they are required to send a report according to a certain standard, then what we just have to do is in their context we alter. So that means that we might have like many templates in the code for different officers based off the company they work there. So then they can write their report. Then what it does is maybe it will send it to them, and then they can forward it to the company.
That, and then also what they can do is they can just write it out in closer, and then basically have that sent to their phone. Then maybe, let's say near the end of their shift, they'll just go into WhatsApp and just sort of copy down the actual report onto the
Yeah,
applications that they
that's
use.
precisely what I'm saying, recommending. Yeah, that way that like you have evidence.
Yes.
It's not a surprise at that point. You have evidence.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to say give it for free completely. It would be like a free trial.
Yeah.
But the free trial is for a long period, like long enough for them to build like a dependence.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no other way to phrase it.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that you can't live without, you know. And usually with these things, it's only in hindsight that you realize how important it was, not before. Yeah. So yeah, let's think about that.
And you know what's nice about that?
So the next day, my mentor and my partner for the integrated learning decided to head over to Stellenbosch to pick up some electronics for our projects.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
So the first thing is go and put one of the motors with a controller and some form of a drive in the chamber and measure it open.
Yes.
See what we see. See what frequencies we get. And then we know what frequencies, what's the
Yeah, well, we need to look out for in terms of the actual shielding.
yeah. Well, we first want to know what is our profile that we're looking at. What is the signature?
Yes.
So once you have the signature that you're looking for, even once you built your product, if you see any of those that come from that signature, you know where they come from. You've already worked out where it comes from. So you're giving yourself a chance to understand what you're looking at.
Yes.
So we'll look at doing RFI. As soon as you've got all your parts, we're going to wire them all up, we're going to get them going, make the thing buzz, not with a propeller or anything like that. I don't think that's important. Just the motor open, the controller open, everything.
Yes.
Go in the chamber and just buzz it from low speed to high speed.
Okay.
Just run it. And then just put your controller in there as well. Put your controller doing some things like going into sleep mode for 5 minutes, going into drive mode where it drives from 0 to whatever, reading the GPS, whatever. So we do sequences of tests
Yes.
so we can see what's the signature of this thing.
Okay.
And then from that signature, you then go to the next level, which is building your enclosure.
I was speaking to Eddie. I'm not sure if you know him. He's from Australia. He's been doing RFI tests for the past few days, and I was asking him how he did his enclosures.
Yes.
So he says that with the shell, he digs these pockets into it. That's where all of the electronics will fit.
Yes.
And then between those pockets, he molds these sort of like traces in between.
Grooves.
Yeah, these grooves in between, so
Yes.
that the traces can run, and so only the signals that he wants get through around that system. Then he also told me about CRAM, which is some epoxy
Yes.
that absorbs the emissions.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not where we will go. The thing that you need to understand is that the noise is there. You need the noise to control your electronics.
Yes.
Your electronics and everything is a noisy item. You need that to control.
Yeah.
You need it to read the GPS. You need it to read whatever. So those are necessary evils.
Yes.
Now, how do you put those necessary evils into a Faraday cage so that the necessary evils don't come out to the outside world?
Yeah.
Is a secret.
Oh, yeah. So internally, it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter internally what the noise is, because the noise is inside the box.
Yeah.
You're videoing a new area.
I'm doing a vlog.
So you're gonna put a voiceover on me and make me sound like Mickey Mouse?
No, I will not be doing anything like that.
And then when you look over there on that side,
Yes.
that's vines. Those are vines up there.
On the hills.
On the hills there, that's vines. And you can look through here, just behind the strawberry patch here.
Yes.
You can see vines there. That's vines. And that was more what was here. Look up there, there's vines as well. All vines up on that mountain.
I can put it in the back now? Oh, this is funny. Thank you, Micro Robotics. So, with a few components in hand, I can now begin experimenting. What you're seeing here is an ESP32S3 microcontroller, along with a GPS module and an accelerometer, which is coupled with a gyro. Now, I do not have a PCB to connect these things together, so I need to use a breadboard in the meantime, just to connect everything up and then run all of these components naked in the RFI chamber in order to evaluate what sort of signals we're getting out of it. But that is going to be a story saved for the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you then.